12 days before the attack on Fort Hughes, a young general named Colton Smith, who was 19, was in his office asleep. He was trying to finish important paperwork on the planning for the counterattack of Clipson. However, he was easily tired. His office door opened, and Colton immediately shot up. "Who is it?" Colton asked. "Hey, Colt, the president sent me here to make sure that you finished your paperwork," the voice shouted. "Really, Jackson?" Jackson was a shorter man with a small beard. He was a third lieutenant and served under Colton. "So, did you finish?" Jackson asked. "Not yet," Colt mumbled. "Were you asleep on the job again?" "Come on, Colt. You know that's bad for you," Jackson shouted. Colton began to work again when he realized something. "Hey, Jackson, when you were at the briefing, did they mention this giant wall guarding the capital city?" Colton asked. "Not that I remember," Jackson responded. "This is big. This could change the tide of the attack," Colt stated. Colt immediately ran out of his office and ran straight for his superior, Grand General Chameleon. When Colton opened the door, he immediately saluted. "Sir!" Colton shouted. "What is it, Colton?" Chameleon responded. "The map of the capital city. There's a huge wall surrounding the city, sir," Colton shouted. "Holy crap, you're right," Chameleon shouted as he looked at the map. They both knew. Taking the city of Hughes would be a lot harder now. Be quiet. About 4 hours after the battle for Fort Hughes, Colt was waiting inside of a Union gunship as it was flying north, straight towards the city of Hughes. His gunship, along with many others, were about to land at the most heavily fortified place on Clipson. "All right, man. Our goal will be to take the palace in the middle of the city. With any luck, we might make it there in one piece." As he said that, AA fire began knocking gunships out of the sky. "Don't speak so soon, sir," Jackson shouted. "Right," Colton shouted back. 12 seconds later, the gunships landed, and as soon as the door opened, men fell left and right. "We're taking heavy fire. Get down, Jackson," Colton shouted. "Right," Jackson responded with, as he took cover behind the door. "Wait for them to reload," Colt shouted. As soon as the gun's fire stopped, Colt and Jackson ran straight out into the streets and inside a building nearby, and took cover behind the walls. Colt and Jackson fought their way through the building, which led them to another street. "Colt, we have to find survivors from other units," Jackson shouted. "I see that. Do you think they made their landing zone?" Colt asked. "Yeah, Rafa's squad should be nearby, right outside of the Beg Bar," Jackson shouted. The bar was right across the street. "Right. When I say go, run," Colt shouted back. Be quiet. Inside the palace, Confederate officers were in chaos, trying to figure out what to do, what the best course of action was. Due to their supply lines being fractured, ammunition was low. To solve the crisis, the king of the planet, Vladimir Curto, advised a smart plan. Curto was a man of Eastern descent with a pointed beard. His plan was to lead his circle of men around the palace to defend what was important, himself. He watched from his safe balcony as the battle progressed, seeing the Union make ground, and his forces retreated. He was shaking, knowing that if he failed, his entire planet could fall. Colton began counting down for the moment they would cross the street. 3, 2, 1, go, Colton shouted. The two immediately ran across the road to the small bar, and what they saw as they entered shocked them. The Confederate forces were retreating towards the palace. "What the heck do you think is going on out there?" Jackson asked. "The king is a coward. He will do everything to protect himself," Colt responded. The two exited the bar to find Rafa squad setting up a small camp. They walked towards the officer in charge. "Is everything going as planned?" Colton shouted. "Yes, sir. All the men are in position, just as you have requested, sir," the officer responded. Colton took a seat next to a brick wall, and for a few moments thought about the suffering he caused by joining the military. He wished that war wasn't so violent. Hey, Jackson, do you ever think that what we're doing is wrong? That we're fighting for the wrong side, Colton asked. The way I see it, we're fighting to protect the ones we love, to keep them safe so we can cherish those moments with them, Jackson stated. You're probably right. Still, I wish war wasn't so evil, Colton responded. Union gunships began landing at the camp. The defense of the Confederation was shattered. Thousands of Union troops poured into the city and surrounded the palace. Colt went to a tower near the palace and observed the defenses, noticing a weak point near the southeast. When Colt reported this to his men, they quickly formulated a plan, much to Colt's liking. They were trained well. Everything was going great, and not long the palace would be theirs, and all they had to do was capture it. That would be the real challenge.